Don't you see, Butters? Teaching people to think of their brand just makes more people like them. This whole thing is wrong. They're telling you guys to reduce yourself into products.
Hey guys! So funny bumping into you.
Yeah, I mean, we all live here now, so not that funny.
We're just performers instead of human beings.
He's right. Trying to make ourselves into a brand just turned us into products. We don't need to be a brand, do we?
We couldn't get jobs and we ran out of money. We ate chicken out of bowls and rode in big cars full of smelly people to something called work. Every day was a new nightmare.
Hey! You ever heard of a thing called privacy?
Yeah, nobody gives a shit. Will you two just shut up and go away?
Cereal! And yes, you have to pay for everything, Harry. Life is hard. Most people struggle.
I have red hair. I know struggle.
Park County Police Station, what's your emergency?
Yeah, the neighbors across the street are setting off fireworks and it's 10:30 at night.
Oh, is it the Prince of Canada and his wife who just want to be left alone?
Yeah, come on, honey. We don't need this place.
Honey. Just when the frenzy around the first storyboard leak had finally begun to cool, South Park fans got their hands on something even juicier. A second wave of alleged animation frames began circulating on Discord, Telegram, and even locked Substack posts, and this time the resolution was crystal clear. There was no debating it, no chalking it up to fan art or clever AI mischief. These were real, watermarked, color-coded, and damning. And the images, somehow even crueler than the first batch.
How dare you, sir! My Instagram-loving wife has always wanted her privacy!
One now viral frame shows Meghan, in full cartoon form, sitting on a throne made of broken wine bottles, each labeled with past brand flops, Pearl, Spotify, Bench, in her lap, a scroll marked Duchess of Influencing. Her eyes are crossed out with pink dollar signs, and she's mid-speech, yelling the word grace into a gold microphone while a crowd of bored cartoon villagers checks their phones. Another leak, arguably the most brutal, depicts Harry crouching on the floor of what looks like a cartoon therapy room. On the wall behind him, a banner that reads "Still Spare." He's holding a giant baby bottle labeled Validation, while an animated therapist scribbles notes under the heading Crisis of Narrative. Even longtime critics of the show paused for a moment. This wasn't satire, it was character demolition.
What the hell? What did he just say? He victimized me! It's because I'm an ethnic woman! He can't do that! I'll see— Wait, you're ethnic? This is an outrage! We'll just see how he deals with my blue—
Fans went feral. On Reddit, one user wrote, "I was expecting another roast. I wasn't expecting this." Within hours, the new frames were uploaded to TikTok as motion edits, remixed with audio from the Oprah interview, and soundtracked with dramatic violin. Millions of views, tens of thousands of comments. The biggest twist? These weren't even part of the original teaser, meaning they had been deliberately held back, meaning someone, somewhere, is leaking content from within the animation pipeline and doing it with surgical timing. One entertainment sleuth account on X even posted side-by-side comparisons of watermarks from the first and second drops, suggesting they came from different internal sources, not just one rogue staffer, multiple.
If it's truly what we want, then we really can get away from it all. No more magazines and Netflix shows. We really can live a normal life. Yes, I'm sure you agree, darling.
By the end of the day, #SpoiledSussex had climbed the trending charts. Influencer reactions flooded the timeline, some stunned, some gleeful, many just amused at the fact that this had now ballooned into a full-on culture moment. It wasn't just a roast anymore, it was a phenomenon. What stung most, insiders say, is that the leaks confirmed the fears Archwell had tried to downplay. This wasn't going to be a short gag, this wasn't a drive-by joke. South Park was preparing to torch everything: the Rosé rebrand, the mental health messaging, even Harry's lingering post-royal persona. And with the leaks getting bolder and more specific by the day, Meghan's team knew one thing with absolute certainty. The final episode hadn't even aired yet, but the damage was already underway. And behind closed doors, the mood was shifting from panic to desperation.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit. Will you two just shut up and go away?
The moment the new storyboard leaks hit the internet, Archwell reportedly snapped into crisis mode all over again. And this time, insiders say the tone wasn't just anxious, it was furious. According to one person who's worked closely with Meghan's legal team, the second round of images triggered what they're calling a double-down protocol. That means top attorneys were looped in within the hour. New cease and desist letters were drafted, and frantic emails allegedly went out to both Comedy Central and South Park's production offices demanding answers. But here's the thing, unlike the first time, the Sussexes weren't just reacting to a teaser, they were reacting to spoilers. Concrete, specific, and allegedly pulled from the final episode cut. And that's where things got messy.
This might be the smallest palace I've ever been in.
Because according to two sources with knowledge of the post-production process, South Park's animators had already wrapped the master version of the episode a week before the leaks even dropped. Which means Meghan's legal team may have been firing off warnings at a train that had already left the station. There's no pulling it back now. One industry insider said flatly, "The show's been delivered, the network has it, and they're not changing a single frame." If anything, the legal threats may have made things worse. Word began circulating in press circles that Meghan's legal team was using phrases like targeted harassment and reputational harm in their outreach. Phrases that, to the creators of South Park, might as well be invitations. They thrive on this, a former Comedy Central exec explained. Pushing back doesn't scare them, it feeds them. They'll just write your threat into the episode, and fans seem to know that too.
We'll just have to find a way to make £50 billion on our own.
Within hours of reports about new legal moves, the hashtag cease and desist Meghan started trending, mocking the idea that a cartoon could be shut down because it hurt someone's branding. TikTok creators reenacted fake court scenes with Meghan demanding cartoon edits. One user joked, "Next episode prediction, Meghan sues South Park and gets cross-examined by Eric Cartman. Over 1 million views." It's not that Meghan's team didn't have options, but none of them were good. Issuing a public statement would risk confirming the leaks were real. Staying silent meant letting the damage compound, and trying to get ahead of it with positive press was already failing. Friendly outlets were reportedly declining pitches, too scared of becoming collateral satire. One publicist summed it up like this: "You can't fight shadows with spotlights. South Park lives in the shadows. They wait for you to step into the beam, then they draw it, bigger, meaner, in color." And so, Archwell's lawyers did what they could. They sent the letters. They made the calls.
Hey, can you two keep it down?
Hey! You ever heard of a thing called privacy?
But behind the scenes, even the most seasoned crisis managers were starting to realize this wasn't a PR problem, it was a cultural one, and no amount of cease and desist paper was going to stop the next punchline from landing, especially when it looked like the leaks weren't over. They were just getting started. By day 3, it was clear the situation had spiraled into something Archwell couldn't contain. What started as teaser speculation and a few storyboard leaks had exploded into a full-blown meme war, and Meghan and Harry were losing, badly. TikTok became ground zero. Dozens of accounts began stitching together the leaked cartoon frames with audio from the Oprah interview, podcast clips, and even Meghan's voiceovers from her now-defunct Spotify series. But it wasn't just about remixing the past. Creators were building spoof trailers for the unreleased episode, using the leaked visuals and dramatic music.
Jesus, what did they do to you?
One video titled "Still Spare the Sequel" racked up over 2 million views in less than 12 hours. Meanwhile, on X, the hashtag Spoiled Sussex caught fire. What started as a niche Reddit joke ballooned into a top trending tag after several major meme accounts reposted the storyboard leaks with captions like, "They asked for privacy and got parodied instead." And the memes weren't subtle. One image showed cartoon Meghan launching a perfume called Victim No. 5, while Harry held a gift bag labeled Emergency Rebrand Kit. Even fan pages that once supported the couple began to pivot. "This is getting out of hand." One former Meghan fan account posted, "I wanted to defend her, but this is becoming parody-proof." That post alone had nearly 100,000 likes. Instagram was no better.
What happened to your ring?
I gave it to the working people.
We're the working people.
Lifestyle influencers started referencing the leaks in cheeky reels, sipping rosé and pretending to meditate through the public backlash. Even beauty vloggers got involved, with one joking that Meghan's brand was giving cartoon chaos in a vintage bottle. The worst part? Meghan and Harry had no way to correct it. The meme format was outpacing any official narrative, and every attempt to ignore it only made the joke feel more real. Silence, in this case, wasn't power, it was fuel. Insiders claim that Archwell's digital team was caught completely off guard. Sentiment reports that once flagged negative trends in hours were now outdated within minutes. "We couldn't keep up," one former staffer allegedly said. "By the time we briefed Meghan on what was trending, it had already shifted into something even more unhinged." And the leaks weren't even the only problem. People started rewatching the original South Park episode and posting side-by-side comparisons with the new frames. That's when it hit the Sussex team hard. This wasn't just a sequel, it was a continuation. South Park was allegedly turning Meghan and Harry into recurring characters, which in cartoon logic means they're no longer topical, they're timeless, a fixture of satire. And for a couple so focused on image, branding, and public control, that's the ultimate loss. They weren't being mocked for what they did anymore, they were being mocked for who they'd become. And the worst part? According to social media chatter, there was still more to come. More frames, more leaks, and allegedly, even a full scene.
How many more princes and his wives have to live in this nightmare?
As the memes escalated and the hashtag spoiled Sussex showed no signs of slowing down, insiders claim Prince Harry made a series of increasingly desperate phone calls from Montecito. Unlike Meghan, who was allegedly laser-focused on legal routes and brand image containment, Harry took a more personal approach, reaching out to old contacts, people he once trusted, people who had helped him survive the British press storm in his post-royal life. According to two sources familiar with the Sussex's inner circle, Harry tried to get in touch with a former royal equerry, the kind of discreet advisor who once helped him navigate private media deals and behind-the-scenes family tension. He also reportedly reached out to a Netflix executive with whom he'd previously developed a friendly rapport during the couple's initial production pitch meetings. The goal? Not a public statement, not a new project, just advice. What to do, what not to say, how to survive another wave of ridicule without making things worse. But this time, no one called back. One source close to the royal household said the silence from the equerry wasn't accidental. He's not ignoring Harry to be cruel, they explained. He's ignoring him because anything he says will be twisted into another headline, and no one in the royal orbit wants to be dragged into a South Park punchline. Not again. The Netflix executive's silence, according to a Hollywood insider, was even more telling. Everyone is spooked, they said. There's a real fear that being too close to Meghan and Harry right now could blow back on future deals. No one wants to end up animated. That's how volatile this has become.
I'm sorry, I need a drink.
Harry, for his part, allegedly took the lack of response harder than expected. The same insider claims he was overheard telling a friend, "It's like they've all disappeared. No one will help us anymore." That feeling of abandonment reportedly spiraled into frustration. A second source claims Harry even floated the idea of issuing his own statement, separate from Meghan's team, something low-key, maybe posted to a small blog or newsletter, just to reset the tone and try to inject some dignity back into the conversation. But when that idea was pitched internally, it got shut down immediately. It would look weak, one advisor allegedly warned. And worse, it would confirm the leaks are real. So Harry was left with nothing but headlines, hashtags, and viral videos of cartoon versions of himself holding a baby bottle labeled validation. Even those who sympathized with him privately stayed silent, not because they didn't care, but because they knew that right now, any association was a liability. And no one wants to get caught in a South Park storyline, which means Harry, once the brave rebel prince stepping into his own spotlight, now finds himself completely alone in the dark. And according to people who've seen the rest of the leaked storyboard, the next scenes won't just sting, they'll humiliate. As Harry's calls went unanswered and Meghan's legal threats landed with a dull thud, the real fallout was beginning to unfold where it hurts the most, on paper, in contracts, and inside corporate Slack threads.
Damn it, now the prince is playing polo on the lawn.
We are here because privacy is a basic human right.
Multiple sources across the entertainment and branding industries now allege that several key business partnerships tied to the Sussexes are quietly being reevaluated, and in some cases, already pulled. The first major tremor came from the wellness sector. Two mid-tier companies that had been in advanced talks with Meghan's team, one a skincare brand, the other a high-end meditation app, reportedly paused indefinitely just days after the second round of South Park storyboards leaked. And the reasons weren't sugar-coated. An email from a brand strategy consultant leaked to a gossip blog spelled it out clearly. Associating with Meghan Markle at this moment invites risk of parody, ridicule, and meme exposure. Clients want elegance, not chaos. But the most painful blow came from the world of streaming. Insiders now claim that one major platform, not Netflix but a competing giant, had been exploring a documentary-style creative process series with Meghan at the center. Think wellness meets aesthetic entrepreneurship, soft branding, quiet luxury. That project has now been shelved. Not delayed, shelved. According to a producer who was loosely attached to early-stage development, the internal memo cited satirical volatility as a primary concern. Translation? No one wants their content rollout derailed by a cartoon roasting the star before the trailer even drops. And that's the nightmare scenario Meghan's team is allegedly confronting. Because it's not just one episode anymore. The narrative has escaped. The Sussex brand has become so entangled with mockery that even potential partners are treating the couple like walking liabilities.
Park County Police Station, what's your emergency?
Yeah, the neighbors across the street are setting off fireworks and it's 10:30 at night.
Oh, is it the Prince of Canada and his wife who just want to be left alone?
One luxury agency executive put it bluntly. They're not toxic necessarily. They're laughable. And laughable doesn't sell products. Even deals that were once considered slam dunks are now being slow-walked. Archwell's podcast division, which had been pitching a new show format post-Spotify, is allegedly hitting radio silence from once interested studios. And Meghan's wine line, while technically independent, is reportedly struggling to secure high-profile influencers willing to post sponsored content. One fashion blogger was overheard at a recent press event saying, "I'm not going to be cartooned holding that bottle." The fear is no longer about backlash, it's about ridicule. No brand wants to be turned into the next sight gag. Meanwhile, Meghan's inner circle is allegedly split. Some believe the only way out is through a total PR reset, starting with sincerity and staying off the internet for a while. Others think the ship has sailed, that the satire has sunk too deep, that the moment you become parody-proof, you lose control of your narrative forever. Either way, the result is the same. What Meghan and Harry built, out of podcasts, publishing, and post-royal prestige, is now cracking under the weight of cartoon mockery. And the next punchline? According to insiders, it might name names. Back in London, the mood surrounding the Sussex drama couldn't be more different. While Meghan's team reportedly scrambled for legal footholds and brand damage control, the palace, still silent. No statements, no commentary, no sources close to the king, nothing. Just a polished wall of polite indifference. And according to royal insiders, that silence is no accident, it's strategy. One veteran royal correspondent put it this way: if the palace didn't lift a finger after Oprah, after the Netflix doc, or after Spare, they're certainly not going to break a sweat over a cartoon. But that doesn't mean they aren't watching or reacting, they just do it differently, quietly. And according to two separate palace sources, with a bit of satisfaction, it starts with Prince William. According to a royal aide familiar with his schedule, William has been fully briefed on the South Park situation, including the leaked storyboards and social media fallout. His reaction? A smirk. He didn't say anything, just that smirk, the aide said.
Auntie Meghan, hello! Oh, I've missed you!
But in royal language, that smirk screams, "Told you so." And it's not just William. Staffers inside Kensington and Clarence House have allegedly been exchanging memes, yes, actual memes, behind closed WhatsApp groups. One rumored favorite? A still from the original South Park episode, edited with the caption, "Privacy please, unless you have brand deals." Even courtiers are getting in on the shade. None of it is public. None of it needs to be. That's the point. The monarchy plays the long game. They don't clap back. They wait. And now, with Meghan and Harry flailing under satirical fire, palace insiders say there's a growing feeling that the couple is finally tasting the consequences of their earlier media choices. This is karma with a laugh track, one observer quipped. The palace, of course, denies any involvement in South Park's content, but rumors have swirled for months that some former royal staffers, those who left quietly, without scandal, may have offered anonymous insights to comedy writers and entertainment producers. Nothing direct, just enough to add texture, tone, nuance, and if the current leaks are anything to go by, those subtle contributions might have landed. Interestingly, it's not just the palace staying quiet. The royal rota, the traditional press corps assigned to cover the family, has barely touched the South Park chaos. No dramatic op-eds, no outraged defenses, just the occasional headline about the leaked storyboards, always framed with curiosity, never concern. That, insiders say, is telling.
Anyway, Meghan, you were saying Dorit's such a what?
What? No, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything, Dorit.
Well, I heard it somewhere.
The rota only steps in when the family wants a shift in public perception. Their absence? It means Buckingham has no interest in salvaging the Sussex image. If anything, they're letting it collapse without lifting a single white-gloved finger. And from what's being whispered behind palace walls, the consensus is clear. Meghan and Harry built a brand by torching the crown, and now they're learning what happens when the crown decides not to respond. Because silence, when wielded correctly, can be louder than any cartoon, and the royal family, they've mastered it. If there was any hope that the ridicule would die down after a few viral leaks and late-night monologues, that illusion shattered the moment the broader comedy world piled in. Because South Park didn't just throw the first punch, they opened the floodgates, and now, everyone from seasoned comedians to rival animators is taking their swing. First came the late-night circuit, doubling down night after night. Kimmel kept the heat going, joking that Meghan's rosé has the same aftertaste as her podcast, forgettable but with notes of victimhood. Colbert followed up with a fake promo for Still Spare, now with less dignity. Even Fallon joined in, tossing out a worldwide parody tour jab that had the audience howling. But it didn't stop at talk shows. Stand-up comics on streaming specials began folding Sussex punchlines into their sets. One up-and-coming comic on a Netflix taping opened with, "You ever get dumped so hard by a royal family, you end up getting roasted by cartoons? I mean, yikes." It wasn't just the line. It was the crowd's instant laughter. These jokes weren't risky anymore. They were expected. On social media, parody accounts multiplied. Duchess of Chardonnay gained over 200,000 followers in a single weekend, posting fake rosé reviews like, "Pairs well with a strained marriage and strained credibility." Another account, Still Spare Anonymous, began releasing spoof diary entries from Cartoon Harry and memified quotes like, "My trauma tastes better with oak." Even other animated shows couldn't resist.
Why are we so mad today? Because we want our privacy.
A popular adult cartoon on a rival network reportedly slipped in a background gag featuring two unnamed characters, one ginger, one brunette, selling organic wine while dodging paparazzi drones. The scene aired for less than 10 seconds, but fans caught it instantly. And once the screenshot started circulating, the implication was clear. The joke had jumped studios, and that's the problem for Meghan and Harry. they're no longer being satirized in isolation. They've become shorthand, cultural code, a symbol for a very specific kind of overexposed self-branding, which makes them fair game for anyone looking to land a cheap laugh or a sharp one. Sources say Meghan's team is painfully aware of this shift. One Hollywood PR insider revealed that her inner circle had been advised to lay low for 2 to 3 weeks minimum, just to let the noise subside. But the problem is, the noise keeps getting louder. Even behind closed doors, executives are starting to joke about getting South Parked. One anonymous studio head reportedly said, "If they come for us, we'll just call it the Sussex treatment." That's how embedded the parody has become. At this point, it's not about being mocked. It's about being mocked by everyone. And when the punchlines stop being edgy and start being routine, that's when reputations truly shift. Because being the butt of one joke is survivable, but becoming the default joke? That's a cultural burial. And for Meghan and Harry, it's happening in real time. With their brand unraveling across every screen and satire circle, Meghan's team knew they had to act fast. But with every major move scrutinized and memed, their options were limited. Too polished and it looks calculated. Too raw and it risks looking unhinged. So insiders say they landed on something middle ground, a surprise, stripped-down Instagram live session, meant to reclaim the narrative with a soft reset, a vulnerable Meghan, a message of gratitude, something real, or at least that was the plan.
Down with the monarchy! We deserve our privacy!
These people.
The live began without warning. Just Meghan's face, natural lighting, a delicate gold necklace, and a pastel sweater. She opened with a soft smile and a breezy, "Hi, friends," followed by a few comments about reflection, staying grounded, and finding strength in silence. It was at first glance everything her team hoped it would be. Gentle, composed, human. But then, the glitches started. Viewers reported lagging audio, random flickers, and the live chat freezing up just as Meghan began speaking about choosing kindness, even when others won't. Some fans speculated it was a bad connection. Others claimed it was too perfectly timed to be coincidence. Either way, the technical hiccup shattered the illusion of control, and within minutes, screen recordings of the frozen frame, Meghan mid-blink, mid-sentence, were turned into memes. Again, one especially viral remix paired the glitch with a voiceover of South Park's worldwide privacy tour chant. Another added cartoon bees swarming around her head labeled brand deals, legal threats, and pink wine. It was merciless. And then came the rumor, unconfirmed but rapidly gaining traction, that South Park's team was watching the live in real time and allegedly planning to animate it. One podcast host with a large entertainment following claimed to have received a DM from someone connected to the animation staff, saying the glitchy livestream might make its way into the episode. "It's too perfect not to spoof," the message read. Meghan's team reportedly pulled the stream early, cutting it off after less than 12 minutes. But by then, the damage was done. What was intended to be a moment of authenticity had backfired spectacularly. The clips were already being shared, commentators were already reacting, and the narrative had twisted once again, not to sympathy, but to satire. It was a Hail Mary, one Hollywood publicist said. But South Park doesn't just parody your words, they parody your timing, and this one felt served up. Worse still, even Meghan's most loyal defenders hesitated to repost or amplify the live. Some praised her bravery, but with disclaimers. Others ignored it altogether, clearly wary of stepping into the next round of cartoon chaos. So now Meghan's team is left wondering, if even a soft apologetic livestream can be weaponized into comedy, what can't be? And as one insider bluntly put it, if you can't speak and you can't stay silent, what's left? According to leaks, Trey Parker already has the answer, and it's allegedly animated, voiced, and sitting in the final cut. By this point, everyone knew South Park wasn't backing down. But what caught the industry off guard was how gleefully Trey Parker and Matt Stone leaned into the backlash. The creators have always had a reputation for doubling down, but this time, they weren't just unbothered, they were energized. According to people who attended the recent Colorado Creators Festival, where the duo made a surprise appearance during a panel on satire in the streaming age, Trey dropped a line that had the whole room buzzing. "If leaks scare you," he said with a crooked grin, "wait till you see what didn't leak."
Ooh, remind me to tell them the story about when I bought milk.
I think you just told it.
The crowd roared. It wasn't subtle. Everyone knew exactly who he meant. And just like that, a new storm began swirling, not just around what had already surfaced, but what was still to come. Was there more? Had South Park held back even harsher scenes on purpose? Were the leaks just a distraction? The speculation took off like wildfire. Sources close to the production say yes, there's more. Much more. According to one insider, the scenes that leaked were only Act 1. The most brutal material, they claim, involves a recurring fantasy sequence in which Meghan imagines herself as a misunderstood historical icon, only to be repeatedly interrupted by cartoon versions of Spotify, Netflix, and Archwell employees handing her return to sender notes. "It's layered," the insider said. It's absurd, it's painful, and it's hilarious. And now, with the episode reportedly locked and loaded, there's nothing Meghan or Harry can do. Multiple entertainment lawyers have chimed in to confirm that South Park is well within its rights. This isn't defamation. This is protected satire. It's bulletproof, said one Los Angeles attorney. And when the creators are openly taunting you during public Q&A sessions, you've already lost. Even Comedy Central is leaning in. Network execs reportedly loved the teaser's performance metrics, and now thanks to the viral leaks, the botched livestream, and Parker's Q&A zinger, the pre-air buzz is through the roof.
There were highs and lows. It's all good. Anyway, see you guys at tea. Come on, Harry.
Rumors are swirling that they may even bump the episode up in the schedule to ride the wave. For Meghan and Harry, this is the worst-case scenario. Not only have their attempts to silence the jokes failed, but the creators are now teasing the existence of worse jokes. It's a marketing masterstroke, and the audience is lapping it up. South Park fans have already launched a countdown clock on Reddit, tracking the potential air date based on leak timing and previous season patterns. YouTubers are posting prediction videos. Even journalists who normally avoid covering cartoons are chiming in, dissecting Trey's "what didn't leak" line like it's national security intel. It's no longer a roast, it's a spectacle. And Meghan, whether she likes it or not, is its leading lady. Because when the writers themselves enter the spotlight to fan the flames, there's no saving the script you wanted to tell. And according to those in the know, the curtain's about to rise. One more time.
Over, under, around and through. Meet Mr. Bunny Rabbit, pull and through. I did it.
Good job, Harry.
Now comes the question that no publicist, no brand consultant, and no Palisade can answer for them. What do Meghan and Harry do now? Because this isn't just a media cycle. It's not a scandal you wait out. It's a full cultural shift, where their carefully curated narrative has been cracked open, cartooned, and handed back to the public as parody. And that kind of damage doesn't just bruise, it lingers. The leaked storyboards, the failed live stream, the echo chamber of comedians piling on, it all points to one thing: a loss of control. Not just of press coverage or public opinion, but of meaning itself. Meghan and Harry are no longer steering the conversation. The conversation is steering them. And that's a terrifying place to be when your entire public persona is built on messaging, branding, and the power of storytelling. Insiders say Archwell is still holding emergency sessions, brainstorming a reset strategy. But how do you reset when your every move gets spun into mockery before the ink even dries? When a simple phrase like gratitude and grace becomes a meme within minutes? Some advisors are allegedly pushing for a total blackout. No appearances, no interviews, no statements for at least 3 months. Let the episode air. Let the chaos pass. But others argue that going silent would be perceived as a concession, a white flag in a war of perception they can't afford to lose.
We couldn't get jobs and we ran out of money. We ate chicken out of bowls and rode in big cars full of smelly people to something called work. Every day was a new nightmare.
Meanwhile, brand analysts are running the numbers, and they're grim. Engagement is down, conversion is down, even curiosity is starting to fade. Not because people aren't interested, but because they think they already know the punchline. That's the real risk now. Not outrage, not ridicule, but indifference. Because at the start of this saga, Meghan and Harry still had people fighting in their corner, believing in the cause, rooting for their independence. But today, even the most loyal voices are falling quiet, not in betrayal, but in fatigue, the kind that sets in when a public figure becomes, well, too public, too performative, too obvious.
Hey guys! So funny bumping into you.
Yeah, I mean, we all live here now, so not that funny.
One entertainment journalist said it best: there's a difference between being controversial and being cartoonable. Once you cross that line, it's hard to climb back out, especially when you've been turned into a recurring character. And South Park didn't just cross that line for them, it animated it, colored it, gave it a voice. So now, all eyes are on what happens next, not just with the episode itself, but with the aftermath.
Oh, you're hilarious, Meghan. Why did you move back here anyway?
It was ultimately a tough call, but there were a lot of factors to consider.
Will Meghan try to pivot again, this time towards sincerity, or maybe even silence? Will Harry disappear from the spotlight altogether? Exhausted and isolated? Will Archwell finally admit the strategy needs to change? Or will they double down again and walk straight into another cultural buzzsaw? We don't know, and maybe they don't either. But we do know this: when a cartoon writes your future better than your PR team can, you're not leading the story anymore. You've become the story that others tell. Drop your thoughts below, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. The next video is waiting, and you won't believe what's coming next.